In the summer of 1994, a film about 3 failed rock musicians holding a radio station hostage grossed less than $6 million. Yet, 3 decades later, Airheads persists not as a forgotten flop, but as a strangely resonant artifact. A comedy that accidentally documented the death rattle of a cultural era. Directed by Michael Lehmann, fresh from the cult success of Heathers, and written by Rich Wilkes, Airheads was conceived in a pre-digital vacuum. The script circulated Hollywood for years, a beloved unproduced project that captured a specific, fading anxiety. What happens when your artistic dream collides with an industry that has no use for it? The production itself was a study in contrasts. Lehmann, known for his dark, satirical edge, was paired with a cast-blending dramatic actors and emerging comedians. Brendan Fraser, then known for Encino Man, brought a bruised sincerity to Chaz. The band's desperate leader, Steve Buscemi and Adam Sandler, pre-fame, infused Rex and Pip with a pathos that transcended the script's broader jokes. Filming took place largely at the now-defunct KROQ headquarters in Los Angeles, lending the station interiors an authentic, grimy claustrophobia. The budget constraints are palpable. The hostage crisis unfolds in offices and studios, not grand spaces mirroring the band's own limited horizons. This wasn't a high-stakes thriller, it was a sit-in with guitars. At its surface, Airheads is a farce about the Lone Rangers, a band so ignored they resort to criminality just to be heard. But beneath the slapstick and rock posturing lies a more intimate theme, the performance of masculinity as a shield for profound insecurity. Chaz, Rex, and Pip don the uniform of rebellion, leather, long hair, defiance, but their rebellion is a script. They quote metal lyrics, strike poses, yet their demands are heartbreakingly modest. Just play our demo. Their aggression is a pantomime, constantly undermined by their own incompetence and the station manager's weary indifference. This tension between the pose and the person is the film's core. The band's entire identity is constructed from borrowed attitude, a fantasy of rock stardom that the real world refuses to validate. When the police and media arrive, they don't see revolutionaries. They see confused boys in a room. Lehmann frames the radio station as a microcosm of a media landscape on the brink. The DJ, Ian, played with sublime cynicism by Joe Mantegna, represents the gatekeeper, bored, commercial, utterly disconnected from the passion of creation. The hostage situation becomes a perverse piece of content, a spectacle the station can monetize through call-ins, blurring the line between crisis and entertainment. This prescient satire hits harder today. Airheads arrived just before the internet shattered these old gateways. The Lone Rangers' desperate act to bypass the industry now seems quaint. Today, they'd simply upload to a streaming platform, shouting into an algorithmic void instead of a radio booth. The film's atmosphere is key to its lasting effect. The cinematography by John Schwartzman avoids the glossy sheen of bigger studio comedies. The palette is muted, the lighting often flat, grounding the absurdity in a tangible, slightly depressing reality. The iconic soundtrack, featuring bands like White Zombie and Prong, doesn't glorify the music. It underscores its function as a tribal identifier, a badge of belonging for the lost. Consider the quiet moments. Pip's childlike wonder at the station equipment, Rex's nervous, intellectual asides, Chaz's deflated posture when no one is looking. These glimpses behind the metal facade reveal not caricatures, but vulnerable men using a subculture as a crutch. Their friendship is the only authentic thing they possess. The climax, where the band finally plays their song on air, is not a triumph of talent, but of sheer persistence. The song Degenerated is purposefully mediocre, a competent but forgettable piece of hair metal. The victory isn't in creating art, but in forcing the world to acknowledge the act of creation itself. However flawed, this recontextualizes the entire film. Airheads isn't about making it, it's about the agony of being ignored. It's about the lengths we go to feel seen, to have our voice, however unremarkable, registered in the noise. In an age of curated digital personas, that desperation feels more familiar than ever. The conclusion is deliberately anticlimactic. The band is arrested, but as minor celebrities, their rebellion is co-opted, their song becomes a novelty hit, they win by losing, achieving a fame that hollows out the very authenticity they fought for. It's a bittersweet punchline that lingers. Airheads failed in 1994 because it was sold as a wacky comedy. Audiences expected Bill and Ted, but received something quieter, sadder, and more perceptive. It's a film that understands the comedy isn't in the hijacking, but in the profound sadness that made the hijacking seem like a good idea. So we return to it now, not for belly laughs, but for its atmospheric portrait of artistic longing. It stands as a eulogy for a time when being heard required breaking in, not logging on. A film where the joke is on everyone, the dreamers, the gatekeepers, and the culture that makes both necessary. In the end, Airheads is less about rock and roll and more about the quiet, universal need to scream into a microphone and hope, against all odds, that someone is listening. Thank you for watching until the end. We pour our passion into every single video essay, exploring the stories behind the movies we all love. If you stumbled upon this video by chance, there is a very high probability you might never see our channel again in your feed. So please take a moment to hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and ring the bell. We are actively growing this community of cinema lovers, and your support is what helps us make our content better and more insightful every single day. Let's explore the magic of filmmaking together. See you in the next one.